Chancellor. Every team, every single technical, goes spinning, everyone, and then I have to wait, click on each one.
Hey. You have a minute for that? Glasses on. You better take up places. Out of the view. You set up. You set up. I didn't even bother trying this time because it was so frustrating last time with getting in and out, in and out. You gonna be an ad end, Steve, or?
Hello.
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 Just take your batteries out when you're done, and there's brand new battery chargers.
But it can like open for more than
Yeah, she got it. We're now equipped.
Yeah, and you can plug your computers in and your iPads and whatever else.
Wonderful, David.
And we're fire like.
No.
And also for us.
It was wonderful town, my son taking your son. I assume that we. My brother first, after the 1 year.
Steve, the only trouble with you being down there is that you're not very well visible to the Zoom audience.
And I sat over there for a little while.
Yeah, well, it could, yeah, that would work.
Got my back from the knee.
Get your back to the audience, right?
Why don't we move this table this way and over here?
Well, you're here already, so I mean,
but if we.
oh, why don't I just look over here? Either that or you could come over here.
Trying to spread out.
That would work, I think.
Yeah. Are you gonna wear your mask, Joel?
Where did Pat go? Yes.
Your hat is there. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just because we're close.
Dave has many claims to fame, and this is by no means his greatest, but he was double jointed. So he could draw a perfect circle.
Oh, no. Oh.
Who?
Dave Bob.
Oh, my favorite
I
person.
had Bill Hulk.
Oh.
Yeah.
These, Laura Rossi. You can decide to look at the documents and.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, well, these are the papers that Laura made copies. And these are the, Leslie can tell you better.
Do we need those at this juncture?
Huh?
Do we need those at this juncture?
I can't understand you, I'm sorry.
Do we need
Yeah.
those? Do we need those now?
Not now, after
No,
the
but I
meeting.
just want, okay, unless you want to look at them while you're doing this,
I can,
when there's,
I can send
but I'm
you.
ready to.
Yeah. So for those of you in the Zoom audience, what you missed here was a little bit of a send off for Alyssa DeVidier, who's leaving us to pursue a PhD at Cornell. If we're ready, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome Steve Weisberg, our new member.
Yeah.
Steve, these microphones only work if you have them like right
Yeah,
inside.
Like that
Right.
close.
Gotta be like within 4 inches of your mouth.
That's all right. Somebody will complain if you don't do it right.
Are there additions or deletions to the agenda?
Joel, I'd like to point out that you forgot to add the town clerk report.
I forgot to add what?
Town clerk report.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do that.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do it.
Yeah, obviously, right. I
Okay,
did remark it.
can I just add
did-
it to 6.5?
Did you share it too?
Not yet.
Okay. So let's see, that goes under reports, right?
Yes.
Put it down there. Anything else?
I did talk to SCT today. Do you want me to tell you during the meeting?
Well, yes, we probably should have, but I wondered about that.
Well,
I-
I'm trying to do that.
What'd you say?
Under business.
Under-
Okay.
Yeah, where should we put it?
It's not a big report.
Yeah, why don't we make it first, all right?
Yep.
Mhm.
It used to be written up here. What's the password? Town hall?
Town hall, right.
Town hall?
And
Hope it works better for you than it did for me.
What's that?
I hope it works better for Steve than it does for me.
no, it's
Doesn't
not
work for you?
working for me. And
Is it working for anybody? How do you get on?
Did you get on?
Yeah.
I did.
and which one did you get on to? Town of
Oh.
Danby or?
Town hall.
Town hall?
It's called Danby Public.
Okay, that's the issue. All right.
I was gonna,
And Steve, the public password is town hall with a space in between the two words.
Okay,
And I can't remember if it's capital T, capital H or not.
I'm pretty sure it's
No.
capital T, it's not? Isn't
I
it?
think it's off lowercase.
uh-huh.
I thought it was capital T,
That's
capital H.
closer.
okay.
You could try it either way. Some of these things are, in fact.
No, not yet.
You say try capital T, capital H with a space in between.
Uh, Boy, can't go to the website.
We're trying to
So,
remember.
okay, you get all the information. Ah,
The info is.
no, I thought there was a technical problem, but I don't think that's.
There might be a technical
Well,
problem. Well,
Steve's
can't
trying to
get
get
on.
connected, but
Trying to get connected.
Oh, do you need the satellite?
Catherine connected, okay.
I got connected, but they just remembered.
Oh, well, that is,
Did you get on?
no,
David, can you look at his?
oh, wait, I think I just got on, yep.
Okay.
I'll be
I
interested
don't
to see.
remember which one I typed in at this point, but.
Oh,
Well, what, you know, if they just have it remembered, it won't matter.
Now. That. Got it, thank you. Well, that's all right, I can at least open the agenda.
It's not imperative that you be.
Yeah, I don't
Right.
do that, yeah.
Okay.
I tried.
I do it because I can't hear.
I gave up.
She does
I
it
kept
for the hearing.
disconnecting.
part.
Okay, so we're done with the additions and deletions to the agenda, I believe. Okay. Privilege of the floor. Is there anyone who'd like to address the board? Either here present or on Zoom? I see Rhonda's hand up.
Thank you for starting on time this evening. So I would like to make some comments about the CAC. And the first one that I want to get to is that we have someone who is applying for not an open position, but an extra position. I mean, we don't have to have 9 people. And in looking at this, we're doing something wrong because we are not getting the people that we need to apply the CAC. We have someone who wanting to volunteer for the town, and that's a great thing. Filled out an application for a conservation advisor. And the first question that is asked is, please list professional, educational, and other experience that would assist you in serving in this position. Use additional sheets as necessary. And that envisions somebody with a CV. And yet this space is blank. This is the most important question in my opinion, and this space is blank. This person is coming to the town board to apply for this position, and she is bringing nothing, 0, nothing. We had a person at the last meeting who came to the meeting totally unprepared, had trouble conducting the meeting. So we don't really have people who are conducting good meetings. We don't have anyone doing publicity. We don't have anyone doing development. And we have no one attending the state annual meeting of CACs and CABs. Now, Claire had volunteered to attend the CAC annual meeting, but of course, other things got in the way. And so now we have no one doing that. we are not prepared. We are not running the CAC as we should be. We are not attracting the people who ought to be coming to us. We certainly have the talent in this town, and people who want to learn more about the CAC and learn more about wildlife and everything ought to be coming to the CAC meetings to learn what the CAC does before they apply.
Okay, thank you,
The
Rhonda. Out of time.
Okay, let me just make one more comment because it's really important. The Finger Lakes Land Trust has more than $200,000 in its accounts for the defense of easements. And we would be expected to defend easements, and yet where are you going to get this money? You have no money in the account for the CAC. And there we are. Are you coming to us, the property owners of the town of Danby, and saying, we're going to raise your taxes 100% so that we can pay a lawyer to defend our easements? And something needs to be done about that. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else? Oh, I saw Ted, but I don't see him on the screen.
Oh, that's there.
The left-hand corner.
I see, yes. Yeah, okay. Didn't recognize him there. Go ahead, Ted.
Sure. First of all, I'd like to thank Joel for realizing ahead of time that it's a good idea to be able to see all of the board members and rearranging the people so that we can. Hi, Steve. There. Much better to see your face than the back of your head. I won't use Rhonda's sarcasm. Well, avoidance of the direct. I'll say this directly, guys. If you're going to have meetings at 6 o'clock and people are going to interrupt their dinners to get them, it really would be polite if you started them at 6 o'clock. I have to agree with Rhonda that the applications, I'm not speaking about the person, I'm speaking about the applications submitted by Marie Monroe are, let's just say they're incomplete. I'm sure that she has more knowledge than it would be apparent on those applications. And finally, in reading through the agenda, I see that you intend to discuss the status of the State Comptrollers Audit. I'd like to make a request, which is that rather than putting that last on the agenda after you've had an executive session, which encourages everyone to leave instead of sitting around while nothing happens, that you discuss it early in the meeting while it's still there, while people are still able to listen. And I think you should also consider holding informational sessions where people can ask questions about this audit, the previous town clerk audit, and I suspect there may be other audits coming up. I don't know. I had time only to glance quickly through that audit, and I'll tell you, it explained something for me that I hadn't really thought through, but I have all of a sudden begun to appreciate the fairly contentious review of warrants that we've had over the last few months. I'm sure that the audit itself is undated, the report is undated. So I'm sure that the town was aware of some of the criticisms that were leveled there. And I'd like to commend the town board for, as contentious as it may be, for having really tried hard to review warrants during the last couple of months of meetings. Unfortunately, I don't think the town has really learned of the lesson from the previous audit. Yes, you put the legal notice in the paper, it appeared today, and yes, you have the status.
You're running over.
Actually, according to my thing, I'm at 2 minutes and 52 seconds, Joel.
Okay.
Yes, and you're going to talk about it, but I really don't think that you've taken to heart the intent. I can't say what the intent was, but the public nature of this process, which is you put the public notice in there, you discuss it during the meeting so that the town, so that the residents of the town can see what it is. There's considerable money involved in this one in terms of duplicate payments, unaudited payments, and et cetera. Most of it doesn't actually reflect that badly on the town, but nonetheless, you should be making it very clear to the town, to the residents. And now I am over 3 minutes. Thank you.
I think Ted has a good point there, that it was not in my intention to avoid talking about the audit by putting it after our executive session. So I think we could bump it up so that we talk about it before.
Teresa,
Yes, Teresa.
I'm having trouble hearing. I don't know if anybody else is.
I can hear it, but it's not too
Is there a
loud.
way to make the sound?
To make it louder,
what's the other one of these?
there probably is, but I don't know what it is.
But I've never had this problem before.
Well, we did mess with because it was so loud, that the reverb was making it hard to understand.
Okay.
So it was helpful to turn the volume down, but maybe it's a little bit too
I
down.
think it's a little
Yeah.
too down.
But I don't know. But I don't know how to fix it.
I can't hear it out of there at all.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't be hearing Ted unless you were, well, you would be.
David?
But-
But shouldn't I hear you?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
With this I can hear.
they can't hear you unless you speak to the mic.
okay. Go ahead.
Right, Teresa.
Hi, I just had two quick suggestions. I took a phone call yesterday in court from a gentleman in West Danby who wanted to change his mailing address for the water district. And I told him that he had the wrong office. And he said, well, I was on the website and this is the number that was there. And when I went to look on the website, I can see it says Town of Danby, and then right underneath it, it says Town Court and the court's number. And then over to the left a little bit, it says the Town Clerk. I'm wondering if we could flip that and have the Town Clerk's number right below where it says Town of Danby, and then the court number over to the right. And my other question is, I know that you now have your mail, you have that mailbox there, and I'm wondering if you would oppose us putting a sign on it saying that it's not for court business, that court business needs to be brought over to our door and, put in our mail slot, just so there's no confusion of the mail.
Okay,
Thank you.
anyone else? Here. Okay. Seeing none. Is there any correspondence? It won't be there, Stephen.
No.
I did something over there.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Janice, anything? No. So you're muted, that's why I'm not hearing you.
Yeah, no, sorry.
And I
Do you
don't
want me
believe
to
there's
go
any
and check the audio?
announcements either.
No, do you want?
We-
me to finish one?
We are graced this evening with the presence of our county representative, Dan Klein. Dan, it's nice to have you with us. Could you unmute Dan, please?
Got it now. Thank you. Hello,
Yeah.
everybody. Steve, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome to the craziness. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes,
Yeah, a little bit.
except for
Great.
Catherine.
Okay. Let me just tell you about a few things. First of all, the county has said what the county highway department has listed what projects they intend to work on next year. And so I just want to tell you about what the ones in Danby are. And every time I do this, I just give the caveat that this is just a tentative list and it could change based on things like finances or weather or unexpected situations that pop up. So tentative plan for Danby is Comfort Road is going to be paved from 96B to Gunderman Road. Troy Road is going to be paved from the intersection with Nelson Road all the way to Coddington Road. And there is a chip seal project for Coddington Road, the entire section that's in Danby. I wanted to report about some discussions that are happening at the county level that are pretty likely to come to fruition, which is we are probably going to eliminate the local board of assessment reviews. So for those of you that are not familiar with that term, this is a one-time, once a year, 3-hour board that meets in person, so any resident of the town can show up at town hall that day and challenge their assessment in person. And we're planning on eliminating these for two basic reasons. One is that attendance at these has been very low. Some years is literally 0 people that show up. And the other, probably more important, is that there are other and better ways to challenge one's assessment. Because one of the things that's true about this Board of Assessment Review is that it does not have the power to actually change your assessment. It can only pass along the recommendation to someone else who can change it. So really, it's more effective just to talk to the person that can change it. And then the last thing I wanted to report tonight is something I'd mentioned to you a month or two ago. I just want to repeat it, which is that the county has restarted a mini grant program for municipalities for parks and trails and open space. So we ran this for 1 or 2 years, and then it was suspended during the pandemic, and now we're going to bring it back in 2023. It's run through our county planning department. We've made $50,000 available. And so any individual is likely to get somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,000. That would be a realistic number to play with. This is only open to municipalities, so the towns, the villages, etc. It's a first come, first serve. So it would be good if the town has something in mind to start thinking about it now and gathering some information so that when the grant program is officially launched sometime early in 2023, probably like February or March, probably, that you're able to get your grant in relatively quickly. And hopefully you can think of a good project for this, and hopefully Danby can get some of that money. And that is
specifically for trails.
Trails, parks, and open space.
Yeah. So that's my report. I'm happy to take questions if you have any.
Dan, you were at the last Board of Assessment Review. Do you know how many people showed up from in Danby?
If you give me a minute, I can get you that answer. If you have any other questions, go
Because I
ahead.
know I had read the back and forth about it being Jay being kind of keen to, and I wonder whether or not our participation was representative of most places when that we didn't have much of anybody show up.
The last time I heard something from Dan, it was the last 3 years, 0, 0, and 1.
That sounds right.
There's only one there this last time.
And 0 the 2 years before.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have it 2 years before, but
Right.
the 2 times
Two
before.
times
2 times before, the 2 times before.
Yeah. And not a whole lot of people.
Yeah, 1 is not a lot.
No, it's not. Yeah.
It's not productive because they can't do
So
anything anyway.
It's a lot of people who in staff time to be there for people who
Yeah.
don't show up.
I mean, and then a little more that I said, I sent Pat the article, as I'm guessing that's where you're quoting from, so thank you. Some other things I mentioned in there is that the people on the Board of Assessment Review, hopefully they've gone to the one training that they have at the assessment department, but it's not even required. And even if they go, that's their one piece of training. Assessment is pretty complicated stuff, and the people on that Board of Assessment Review are amateurs. I just want to be clear, I'm talking about myself as well. I've been on the board for a number of years. So it's just really much better if the person challenging their assessment goes directly to the assessment department, talks to the staff that speaks the language, can tell them what's relevant and what's not, and can actually change their assessment.
Okay. So trails, parks, and open space,
Yes,
right? Something to think about. Thanks.
welcome.
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.
And Laura has, and because Keith's not coming, but Laura, you do have something to convey about what's going on with the highway department.
Hi, everybody.
Is it on?
No, it's not.
Up there.
How about that?
It's better.
Hi,
I
everybody.
heard it.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you're,
Keith wasn't, he's been up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning every time. And he's expecting the same thing tomorrow morning, looking around. So he wasn't able to tune in here today, but he just wanted me to make mention tonight. You know, we're just in our snowplow season. Everything's all set up for expected weather for this weekend. He's got a salt shed full of salt and sand and everything that we're needing. So that's really the focus of his attention right now, is snow removal and what we need on these roads. And then there was another thing that we wanted to share is that the county had some money that they were dispersing for things like culverts and bridges. And they sent us a check for $30,000 for what we did in Gunderman Road. So that was something really great. We responded to them, got them the information they were looking for, and they put it through, and we did receive $30,000. Now, this isn't, I know I'm up here with the mic, this isn't highway, but I'll tell you about another check we got. Our mortgage tax, we got another 57,000. So we've done really good. The first one for the year was 60. This one was 57,000. So we did way better than what we had budgeted, although we usually budget pretty conservative on that. So those were a couple of good news things. What else were we talking about, Joel? With
those are the two main ones.
those are the two main things that we were
really
wanted to mention about what's going on with highway.
Yeah, the other one was whether or not you're going to go forward with the West Jersey Hill culvert replacement.
With that culvert replacement, I think the contractor that we selected is going to continue with that. We're going to see when I say continue, of course, he's going to do the project, but it's just the timing of it. So we'll see how the weather holds out. Winter time does not scare him, you know, and also the fact that that stream will be clearer is another good thing to be able to get that job done. So we'll check on that and keep you posted. Okay?
Yep, thanks.
Thank you.
Which brings us to our interviews. We haven't been interviewing, it's not our practice to interview people who are reapplying because we have some indication of what their performance in your positions is. But we have two applicants that are new for the positions for which they're applying. One of them is Marie Monroe, who's here this evening, because she opted to attend by Zoom rather than attend in person. So welcome, Marie, and I see you there.
Hi,
We have interviewed Marie before before we put her on the Water District Committee.
Right.
But this is different, most of a different color, so to speak.
Hi, Marie.
Hi.
Marie, have you ever been to a CAC meeting?
No, I have not.
Yeah.
May I say something? I mean, okay. You know, Ted and Rhonda are correct. I have really nothing to bring to the table for this specific that I am applying for. I did not realize that I had to have a college degree to apply for anything that people are volunteering for. I just thought that, you know, it's an advisory position and I'm part of the community. So, you know, I just figured, you know, I'm willing to learn things. I'm interested, I'm curious, and that's the only reason I applied for this.
Can I say something, Marie?
Yes.
The only, I wasn't asking that question because of, you know, comments that were made earlier. I like to encourage anybody who's applying for any group to at least attend one meeting or two meetings, just to get an idea of what, you know, what's involved. I assumed that on the water district, maybe you talked with Joel and, you know, had some idea about what the CAC does. But it's also helpful to meet the people who are on those committees and to get a sense of what they do during the meetings and extra work outside of the meetings. That's me. I'm not responding to anything that was said earlier.
No, no, no.
So,
I'm
I mean,
sorry.
I would actually suggest that you attend a meeting, keep your this is me though, other people may think differently, that you keep your application in, but that you know, go to the next meeting and see what it's like. That's just me though.
Right. No, no, I totally understand where you're coming from and what everybody's saying. And they are right. You know, I should attend some of the meetings. But like I said, I did not realize that I had to attend meetings or beforehand.
Right.
I
No,
figured, I assumed once I was elected, then I would attend the meetings.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. My personal opinion is that it's good for people to at least attend a meeting to see how things go and to meet the people, and see if, you know, see if you feel like it's a good fit or something you're even interested in. But that's me. Important to say that we do not have that anywhere, so there's no way in the world. I think it's in the application, it is, I mean, I think it's in the application procedure that we encourage people to attend a meeting. But it's not, you know, Marie wouldn't know that.
It's not a
necessarily.
prerequisite.
We should have known, you know, but there's no, you know, no degree required or, and the advisory groups, you know, they are supposed to be representative of the town. So it's you know, it's not that, we're looking for people with certain degrees. We might like to have, sometimes we like to have representation from different parts of town. West Danby is often not represented, in groups. But, you know, I wouldn't let that scare you. I don't know if somebody else has something to say.
I have something to say. Of course. I haven't come to many of the things without degrees or quote unquote experience that may be applicable. But one of the things that is that interest. And so one of the things that you mentioned repeatedly was your interest in the wildlife, et cetera, and the fact that I'm curious about how much time you like to, this is going to sound like a dumb question, but I don't care. How much time do you like to spend outside? You hike, do you know the area? Do you know the neighbors and the properties in West Danby, things like that?
I know my area and the road that I live on and the road and my neighbors. I actually, well, I work in Ithaca, but I travel Bald Hill every single day going back and forth to work. I know a lot of the neighbors in West Danby, but not all of them. And yes, I do walk. I pretty much stay on my own road. I mean, I don't hike or walk off of my road.
Well, I had the reason I was asking is that some of the jobs that are quote assigned outside of meetings are things like going in on what's the word? Checking the properties, it's not the right word. Understanding the people who might want to put an easement, being willing to talk to them, understand what it is that they think an easement might be. So the fact that you were open and willing to talk personally with us about the response to your application tells me something that I like. It would be nice if you did come to a meeting, but you also can check out some of the recordings. And there are some videos that are on the website for the CAC regarding education about farming and things that we do to try and quote preserve the rural nature of Danby. And don't even try to go into a definition for that, because we spent many months and there is no definition for that. It's all individual. So your individual interest and experience living in West Danby is of value. So I appreciate your courage to apply and speak up in the meeting.
May I say something? Yes, I am interested in this, in applying for this. And the reason being is that I have an 18-year-old daughter, and she is going to be putting roots down in West Danby and making this place her own. And I hope one day, because she wants to be a vet, I hope one day that she does do that, and and she wants to have a business here also. She wants to have an actual her own veterinarian business here in West Danby West Danby area. And I am passionate about keeping the land as is to the best of my ability, and not having it become suburban opposed to a rural area. And I am, as long as there's no snakes around, I'm all good at walking wherever you want me to walk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I see a snake, I'll be gone. But other than that, I am up to walking wherever and hiking wherever, sorry, that was a little rant I was going on. So yes, thank you.
Good comments there.
And do we want to make a decision at the next meeting, give her a chance to go to the meeting?
We might want to do that, but we're doing interviews for now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
consideration, in fact, I don't think I even put consideration. Well, we wouldn't be doing it to this meeting anyway, because
Right.
the appointments are made in January.
Right.
So this is just to get the preliminaries out of the way.
Right.
And then, yeah. So I appreciated those last comments, Marie. They're very much pertinent to what the CAC does, which is to help with the easement program, which is aimed at protecting the land and the development potential for it. So that's a good fit from my perspective. Any other questions for Marie? If not,
So we're gonna, just so that she has the information, we're gonna be deciding on applicants for these vacancies in January.
right.
So, okay,
Yeah, and of course, as somebody mentioned, this is the 9th seat that we'd be filling. We don't have to fill it.
right,
Um,
right.
So there's no imperative that we do it, at the January 6th meeting, or if we want to give Maria an opportunity to attend the meeting, make sure that she really wants to do it, then we could.
When
just
is
wait
the
and do it.
next, when is the next meeting?
Good question. No, I did think.
The second Tuesday?
Second
Yeah,
Tuesday.
yeah,
Second Tuesday.
yeah. We meet the first Tuesday, which is the 6th, so, but there must be the 13th then. So, and with that in mind, Marie, it's unlikely that we'd make a decision before the second meeting, which would be the 3rd Wednesday. To give you an opportunity to check the group out and see whether there are a bunch of people you want to be associated with.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Marie.
And then also here, because of her applying for a different role is Marnie Kirschgessner, who's here in person. Marnie, as you know, already serves as our delegate to the Rec Partnership Board and to the what's it called? The County Youth Commission?
The County Youth Advisory Board.
Yeah.
Now, the appointment for the County Youth Advisory Board is actually made by the county board.
Right. We
So
make
I need,
both of those actually are recommendations to the county.
no, the Recreation Partnership is an appointment, a one-year appointment by this
By the board.
board.
Mm.
It's very confusing.
Yes, it is.
It really,
Yeah.
but it's an annual appointment for the Recreation Partnership.
So we need to do that again in January.
Yeah, so that needs to be on the agenda for January
Yep.
if you
Right,
want
right.
me or if you can find someone else. And I am absolutely guilty of what, was alluded to by both your speakers, and that the application process, I just sort of thought, oh, they all know me. And then I realized, I don't know you at all. You don't know me at all. And my career, for the most part, I retired from the town of Ithaca as the youth recreation and youth coordinator. And most of my career was in government. I also worked for the Park Foundation and the Community Dispute Resolution Center, and was involved with the Enfield Community Council for many years. So my joy, my love, is advocacy for youth. And that's why I'm very interested in the newly formed, meaning this year, for the Danby Youth Commission. And I have done those other things. And if you want to get me in the process, a motion to reappoint me to the County Youth Advisory Board would be useful, so I can get it to the county board. I can fill out the application for the county board, because I haven't done that yet. And then it goes to Dan Klein for processing that way.
Is that up this year? Is that up this year?
Yes, that was the one I actually reached out to you, I think, first.
Yes.
About, because I got my letter for renewal, I think, in like November, and I didn't want to just unilaterally, fill it out.
I think I've been mentioning it actually for the last, because
So-
we go through the list of appointments to be made, and it's been on there for multiple meetings as a to-do.
So, and I'm available for any questions. I live at 74 West Jersey Hill Road. And I asked Laura to put off the up of the culvert until the spring, because every day at 2:30, I have to go to Catherine's driveway and pick up my grandson from the school bus. So I would have to, especially weather, go way around, which I would prefer not to do. That's my, selfish. I've been telling them to keep the road rickety for years, just because.
Keeps the traffic down.
Yeah, well, yeah, because they really do use the highway like a
The highway.
highway. Because it's become a commuter route. I live in the house my parents bought when I was born. And, our dog would sleep in the middle of that road when I was a kid. And now, I have to, like, take out flags to get across to my mailbox. So, do you have any questions about anything, How has my reporting been adequate? Are you,
I'll ask you a question,
Sure.
Marnie, why not?
Yeah.
So what would you like to accomplish being on the youth commission?
I would like to see us, establish that as a premier board for building community amongst the youth in Danby. I think that, it was before Dan got here, his predecessor used to talk about third place, the place where people go and, meet other people. And, Danby really doesn't have any third place. And while I was sitting in the audience when Dan Klein was talking about that money for Parks and Rec, I thought, well, can you spend it on, like our park is private. It's nonprofit, but it's private. Is that money available to that private entity, or is it just for, because most state and federal grants, it has to be owned by the municipality. So,
That's a good point, and it's come up before.
because I'm very, where is our third place? Even, because I have been attending I have been attending those joint youth commission meetings, and a location for the kids to meet, especially here in the winter, is a challenge. We have an excellent service provider in the Cooperative Extension and Heidi Doggett, and she's done wonderful projects with the kids, and certainly did projects in the park. And I want to continue to encourage that growth, and and I think there's a strong element of homeschooling. I would like to see us be building a bridge with those as well. That certainly came out at the last meeting, and yeah.
Thanks.
I forget what it was that came up last year, where that same question about the park, because it's a private entity, was
Well,
relevant.
I know you can't get some federal money in for that.
Yeah, it was,
Because I wrote grants when I was at the town of Ithaca for their, it was the Safe Walkways to School grant that was awarded for like $370,000. So I do know that.
but Dan's still here. Dan, do you know the answer to that question?
Let's be unmuted.
There you go.
Thank you. I do not know the answer to that question, but I will send it off an email tonight and I'll let you know as soon as I get a response.
Good, thanks.
Good, good.
Because as you say, Marnie, it's a sort of it's one of very few places in Danby where people might want to congregate. There's also Jennings Pond, which is state owned.
Well, that's state, yeah.
Yeah. So that probably would qualify.
So,
Yeah. If we can find somebody to run the program.
well, I know, the previous town supervisor did do a lot of trail work out there with the kids that he hired through the program that's operated out of the City Youth Bureau.
Youth Employment Service.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So, and I want to
And we put money into that
kind of,
too.
like, I would like to inventory all of the, and even, it was actually at my last community services meeting, youth services, or maybe the meeting before, where they talked about Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, and, do we have those in Danby? 'Cause, in fact, my grandson was talking to me about Cub Scouts the other day, so.
Mhm. Don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the youth commission to kind of become an inventory for that kind of stuff. And whether we can use the town website for that kind of information. It seems like there's a lot of things that we put our heads together. And it's a great group. Because to give you, Leslie, I have been attending.
Thank you, Marty.
Okay.
Thank you, Marnie.
All right, the town clerk's report. We didn't see it.
No, so I have it here and I thought I would do something a little differently by giving an oral report. Let me,
You could screen share it if you got it.
yeah, I'm gonna screen share and this one. So it's not my normal. Can you all see that?
Yep.
Okay, so this is actually, so I did want to give an oral report because I've never given an oral report before, and seeing as how we're at the end of the year, it just felt important for me to do that. It's been a crazy fall, and we're now in the holiday season. And so I don't actually have the November and December monthly reports. So what I wanted to present tonight was just the year-to-date 2022 collections, which is what I'm screen sharing right now. You know, all told, we've collected $23,000, over 23,000. 20,000 of that, or 20 and a half, has gone to the general fund, with 2,500 going to other various state agencies. If you have any questions on that, I'm happy to answer them. Or if you just want me to give you a second to look at it, happy to do that too.
Do you have any sense for how that compares to last year?
I did look and pulled up last year's as well, and it's slightly lower, but we haven't finished out the year, and there's been a transition in the system. So I really need to get down into the nitty-gritty and reconcile both systems to make sure that they're matching. So yeah, it is slightly less. Well, actually, it's more total, but in terms of quantities, there's slightly less than
Fewer transactions, or
yeah.
I think same impression with the building permit stuff too. The total's more, but the number of permits is actually not.
Right. So with that, I can leave this up here while I continue if you want, but I also just wanted to share what's been going on with the clerk's office. And I have a lot of things to share. The first one that I just want to state off the bat is I actually really enjoy serving the Danby residents in this role as town clerk. It's been a pleasure getting to know so many of them as they come in, either to pay their taxes or to license their dog. And even when, you know, troubles arise, when someone's upset when they come in to pay their taxes, I am pretty good about offering a sympathetic and understanding ear. Even when, like today, a family came in to pay a traffic ticket, and I said, well, then, you know, they're here Mondays and Tuesdays, 8 to 11. I offer various ways for people who come in looking for a different department to get in touch with that department. I try to help people to the best of my ability. And I enjoy doing that. You know, I think it's no secret that I have a number of degrees behind my name, and I unfortunately also have the graduate student loan debt that comes along with that. But I want to say that I actually have always envisioned that I would work for a nonprofit or a government entity. And so, you know, this opportunity popped up surprisingly, and here I am. So I was appointed to this position, and then I ran for election and I was elected. And you know, it's been an interesting and wonderful experience. I certainly didn't look for this job knowing that it was going to pay a lot of money. I've never looked for a job because of the salary. It's not really what motivates me to do my work, but I am motivated in a situation that you know, I see ways that I can improve systems, and you know, I tend to be a little bit of a problem solver, and I'm an independent worker, so I'm always looking to process smoother and more efficient and simpler. Some people might disagree. Some people might think that I've made them more complicated. But you know, as we work through various things, I think my end goal is that I'm committed to serving the residents of Danby. And, you know, I want to make things like licensing their dog or getting a parking accessibility tag easier, or finding the information they need on the website easier. So I'm actually proud of the job that I've done so far here. And, you know, I have made mistakes. I'm human and I'm not perfect. I'll never be perfect, but I do continue to learn and grow from my experiences. And I'm proud of the difference that I have made in my 2 years that I've been in this role. So again, I felt like at the end of the year, I kind of just wanted to not only tell you how much money we've brought in and how many licenses we've sold, but just kind of overview some of the other stuff I've done. And so, you know, for one, I've been really trying to modernize and de-silo the various departments, the boards, the committees. And to that end, I created a virtual workspace for us. So it's accessible to all officials, all staff, all volunteers who work for the town of Danby. Anyone that has the danby.ny.gov email address has access to our Zoho work drive. And we have a number of shared folders and Those are all available. And I can also share those to the public. And so, you know, when I started linking things to the agendas, that helped to create a space for those links to go forward. I continue to modify and refine what I call a living repository, because there are new needs that arise, and then we discover there are better ways of filing our records. You know, Joel, we just talked about today, well, should we have the minutes folder again, or is it best to keep everything in, you know, a particular meeting with the agenda, the minutes, and blah, blah, blah. So that continues to change and emerge. I did obtain the .gov domain name for the town because we are a government entity. I built a new website from scratch because when we moved from digital towpath, they refused to allow us to actually migrate our data to the new web host. I moved our web hosting needs to a more secure vendor. I also redirected the previous domains to the new web host. And part of that was with the .ny.us domain, I had to reach out and move authority over to us. And then I was able to get it to redirect to the new web host instead of it being lost in cyberspace, which is what happened when the town had moved to digital towpath. I also migrated our email host from digital towpath, and now all three of the domains that the town has ever had, you know, the .ny.us, the ny.org, and now the ny.gov, they all go to the same place. So even when people get misinformation from some people's websites that may have outdated contact info, we still do get those emails. They're no longer lost, but they are received. So, you know, I did all this, and it's likely that this would have cost at least in the tens of thousands of dollars for an external company, for an external consultant. I did all of this at no extra compensation to me for my time and my ability to do the things that I did. I have also created how-to guides for accessing email and creating templates. I shared that with you, Joel. But every time somebody gets added to an email address, anytime somebody new comes on, I onboard them with their new email address and I send them, here's how you log in for the first time. I continue to work on adding more how-to guides for other activities, but it's a slow process because it's only me and there's so many other fires that pop up. So I do hope to continue to have other guides, you know, like there was a question about, I created a document in work drive, but now I don't know how to get it to share or put it on a template or whatever. So those kinds of guides will be coming in the future. Another thing I did is that I upgraded the phone system so that we are connected town-wide. So we now have caller ID, we have voicemail to email, we get transcribed voicemails and more. And in the process of doing that, I cut our phone bill by over $8,500 each year. I think I have asked good questions and started conversations around the siloed spending habits that we have. So one of this is direct phone bills. It was really difficult to see how much we were spending because we had, like, you know, 3 different phone bills for AT&T, one for the court, one for the town, and then one for highway. So able to question that and say, well, why don't we have a town-wide line for things that are town-wide, like a phone system, so that we can actually see how much we're spending. You know, I also I've been here the least amount of time, and I am the least familiar with things that go on in this town. But I finally was the one that figured out, wait a second, Casella is charging us to pick up trash at Town Hall when there is no trash to be picked up at Town Hall. So in 2021, they charged us over 9 months, $269.85. That just went, you know, it was, we got the invoices, we put them on the warrants, and they were approved to be paid and were paid until I asked, wait a second, where's the trash that's being picked up? So, you know, I think that was a thing that's, again, related to our invoices and how we keep track of our spending for town-wide costs. Another thing that I did was I created the town newsletter template. I was also available to assist. I helped finalize output for both the print and online versions. I did encounter some difficulties, and in the last several months, I was not alerted that that the newsletter was being sent to the printer, and I wasn't alerted when it was mailed out. So for that reason, though, I did start sending email blasts for the electronic version of the newsletter. I think the last one I did might have been in August, because I sort of was cut out of the loop of that. I have made many updates to a lot of our processes that allow people to complete them online, from the board and committee applications to the youth commission grant applications, dog licenses, and building permits are now available online. And when somebody submits a building permit online, it goes directly to Steve, and he's able to work through it from there. I continue to tweak and improve our dog licensing system. I've created a new space where there's a portal that anybody who has a dog can get access to it. They can see their dog's information. They can see when they're up for renewal. And very soon they will be able to make those payments online through that system. I also moved our tax collection process to the same vendor that the county uses. This was to help simplify the collection process and the transition that happens between the town and the county. So, I felt compelled to outline a lot of these things that I've done, because I feel like I have done a lot. I'm committed to continuing to improve our processes, both on the whole as well as the way that I do things. And so, I think it's been a difficult few months, and I just want to offer some insights into what I think has broken down, and also to acknowledge that I feel there has been very inequitable treatment that has happened. So, first of all, sorry, I see you, Steve, and I admitted you. So, we talk about budget processes. I complained about the budget process last year, and there were some discussion around it, and some things happened. We created a finance committee, but it hasn't really addressed everything. And in my experience, I was given a time to present my budget lines, but I was dismissed and told it was inappropriately presented because I didn't send documentation in advance. But, I thought that I had done everything I was supposed to. I filled out my budget worksheets that Laura sent. I sent them back to her. I was following what I thought was the procedure. And then I was told that that wasn't the case. And the quote and the planner were able to discuss their line items in a budget workshop, but when it was my turn to discuss my lines in the budget workshop,
You're deviating a bit from me.
I'm not. I really.
I didn't mean to give you a bully pulpit to lecture the board for 10 minutes about in lieu of the clerk's report.
It worked.
But so I appreciate your review of the the salient features of your performance, if you will, over the course of the last 2 years. But I don't really think that it should be an opportunity to have rehashing of your differences with the board over
I'm not
how we handle the budget process.
And I'm also, this is a report about how the town works together. And there has been a lot of discussion. And, last week, or not last week, but at the last meeting, we were supposed to have a discussion, and I was not able to discuss anything. And I'm doing my utmost to offer some insights, and I continue to be shut down, and I continue to be given inequitable treatment. I'm the only one who has not been allowed to report. I'm the only one who is not given due time. And I'm not sure.
I think you had more than your share in the last few meetings of time to report, including this one. This is way beyond what anybody would be including in as part of their sort of routine reporting. And I'm willing to say, it's the end of the year. It's not a bad time to do some retrospective, sort of assessment. We all do that, and it's sort of where we are in the scheme of things here before we launch into a new year. And I appreciate that. But but it has to be limited. There are other things to do, that are on the agenda here, and it was, we can't devote, 15 minutes of each meeting to, a clerk's report.
So my clerk's report is normally not even I have a link to a report, and that's the extent of it. I mean, generally the clerk's
I know,
report.
so I mean, this is a sort of
zero
creative use of that space here and using it to address the board on larger matters, and I'm willing to indulge that to a limited degree, but I think we kind of have to wrap it up here so we can get on with the rest of it.
So can I wrap it up?
Yes, if you would.
Okay. So I do want to talk about the budget because I think it is very important, because I was dismissed at my time to talk about the budget, and I'm still being dismissed. And so what I want to say is that, the clerk is the lowest paid position in town hall, and the town clerk has some of the most important responsibilities. Having a planner is optional. Having a code enforcement officer is optional, but having a town clerk is not optional. So if we talk about the clerk's budget lines versus everybody else's lines, we can talk about the gender wage gap. And the New York State Comptroller's Office released a report in March 2022, where New York State ranked 11th best among all 50 states, plus DC and Puerto Rico. But what we're talking about is, in 2019, men's median earnings in New York, full-time, year-round, was $60,000, $60,800, let's say. Women's median earnings in 2019, full-time, year-round, $51,992. Let's call it 52. So that's $8,821 difference, or 85.5 cents of earning to every dollar I'm earning. So my salary in 2022 is $41,379, or $10,000 below the 2019 median. In 2023, it'll be $44,000, which is just about $8,000 below the 2019 median. But code enforcement earnings was $57,000, or $3,000 below the 2019 median. And in 2023, the code salary will be $60,100, or $700 below the 2019 median. The planner's earnings is well above the median.
This is not.
Will continue to be well above.
Not relevant, unfortunately, to.
So I wish to point out that there is a discrepancy here in.
No,
the
you
amount of
pointed this
time-
out before, and we've dealt with it in the budget, so.
No, you didn't deal with it in the budget
You
because
can't be
I
heard,
was
but I'll put it in.
dismissed. I was continuously
I think we need
dismissed.
Wrong one.
I think we need to save this for a special meeting or some, bigger discussion. What I'm hearing right now is a description of full-time positions, and the town clerk is not necessarily a full-time position.
Town clerk is
Oh.
indeed a full-time position.
What isn't? So it never has been. So
Yes, it has
I
been.
mean, if you can do your job in 20 hours, it's a job. So, and I know that, maybe 20 hours is pushing it, but I think that, it's never been a full-time job. But
It has all.
I think this is getting beyond what we're able to do today. So if we want to.
I'm not asking for anything.
If we want to set up time
Merely
to
trying
talk
to
about
present my report.
discrepancies, and I think there's people who make less money in town. I don't want to get into it tonight.
I'm just trying to
This is
present.
not a clerk's report that we're working on right now. We need to get the rest of the agenda done, which is paying bills for one thing.
There are all issues that can be dealt with, but not at this meeting.
So I will end my report by saying that I have enjoyed a collegial and collaborative relationship with the town board up until this past fall. I am definitely open to working along with you all once again, but I want you to keep in mind that I'm also working for the residents of Danby. I'm an elected official, and my end goals are to make my interactions with the residents even better than they have been. And my end goals are to lower costs and improve processes, which, as I outlined before, I have done time and time again. I am not trying to bash anyone. I am not trying to threaten anyone. I'm not trying to take anyone else's job. I just want to be able to do mine. I want to be treated fairly and equitably. I want to be paid what I'm worth, not just what I'm worth, but what the town clerk's role is worth, which is a hell of a lot more than what it's been given.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on. We have a slew of minutes that haven't been approved. And I confess I worked my way through them, but I hadn't worked my way through all of them.
I would recommend that we approve the ones that had been on the agenda before,
Which went through what?
up through November 1st. We've had those on the agenda before,
I know.
and Leslie made corrections on them at the last meeting.
Well, I made additions. I mean, and I would agree with you if I could see those. When I see, when I see the December 6th minutes and know that those items that I wanted included are in those minutes, then I will concede to approving these. I went back and looked through, it looked like the October 3rd one, and I'll give up the October 12th one. It's not worth fighting about. I would move that we pass those. The October 3rd ones, the items were changed that people, including yourself, asked for. And October 12th, one of them was changed and one was not, but
I might have changed it in the meantime, because I made some changes earlier today.
okay, we need to stop doing that. We need, that's something we should talk about sometime. But I mean, Pat, I would be willing to move the first two.
Right.
And the others, I just want to make sure, okay, that the January or the December 6th meeting minutes includes that list of things that I read off. Fine.
Well, I agree that
Have that for that yet.
yeah, right, exactly. I agree that the December 6 minutes need to reflect the addition that you wanted to make, but I don't see where that's an impediment to passing the minutes of the meeting. Because the adding what you wanted added to the December 6 minutes is not going to change what's in the minutes for the
It won't,
25th.
but approving, I mean, the Dick House discussion
Yeah.
was not reflective of what, the fellow was mad. I mean, and he was angry and
Well, it's a little bit
but the
about it.
reflection in the minutes didn't, the writing of the minutes didn't reflect what his thoughts and how mad he was. So, and the budget workshop for October 28th included 0 items that we discussed. We just passed the budget. I'm not gonna say I approve that. And I know that just by adding the list onto the December 6 minutes doesn't fix these, but at least somewhere in the record, a couple meetings later, it would be in there.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna approve the other 3. And I actually didn't have time to look at the November meeting. I don't know if anybody else did.
November 9th?
Huh?
You didn't look at the 9th?
The 9th, 16th, or 18th, I did not.
I didn't get through the 16th and 18th myself, so I'm willing,
But
I'm happy to
I
defer those.
would be, I would be more than willing to do the October 3rd and October 12th. So at least
All right.
get 2 off the table.
Uh-huh.
I don't,
So you move those two?
I'll move those 2.
Okay,
I'll second those.
right. So we're there. I mean, I'd like to see us do more than that, but I wouldn't do that much anyway.
There were,
Let's start with that.
we also had a meeting on the 19th, right, of October.
That we already approved.
That was already approved.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why it
Right.
wasn't on the list. Okay,
Right.
gotcha. Right.
So any discussion about the minutes of the 3rd and the 12th before we vote on them? Okay, so, Janice,
Connors,
Yep.
Hunter,
Yes.
Weisberg,
I'm going to abstain since I wasn't present.
Could I do that?
Woodworth,
Yes.
Gagnon.
yeah. Okay. So I would be willing to do the 28th, the 1st, and the 9th.
I read them all, but I'm not willing to. I was fine with it until I hear that there are other discomfort responses to them. The fact is that when we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 listings for one meeting, that makes it pretty hard to do this.
What do you mean?
Takes time to
They're
look them
all
over.
9.
Most, the last 5, we didn't get.
Yeah.
But I remember the way back, and I know it's very, very low because I decided to go and do it one.
Right, that's what happened to me.
Yeah, I went the other way.
Oh, I did the warrant instead of reading the last three.
The warrants are more important than the other two.
Yeah, I understand, but I trusted that we had a couple of people working hard on that part.
I asked that we put off the rest until the next meeting.
Right.
And I believe most of the warrants. I believe most of the corrections were made to the warrants. These the ones I acknowledged, I think were made. It was hard to find.
Wait a minute, what are we talking about?
We're talking about the warrants.
Sam, put this away.
So the general fund.
With one exception, on the, West Danby Water District.
Yes.
Abstract has a SW 84 and for Amrex, and I didn't find that. Is that,
I found it
you found it? Okay, then fine. There we go.
for 298.25.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't find the budget.
I couldn't find the budget.
Huh,
But I couldn't find the budget.
I did.
Okay.
There were a couple of head scratchers in the general fund,
Yeah,
but they got the one
looking for my
about
head
the
scratcher.
rebuilds, that probably doesn't belong in highway. That was probably a highway when it got pulled, right? Because it wasn't
And-
back to the highway. Yeah, yeah. Right.
there's
That
soil
was
and
good.
water.
And there was a mistake on the.
What are we,
From 369.
were we looking at general?
20 and it's 2022 on the abstract.
Right.
So,
But there's still no invoice. There's only one
it already
invoice,
got changed.
but there's still only one invoice in here.
That already changed to $220.
Right, but there's only one. Is
There
there
are two-
another, is there a second $20 invoice for that?
Yes, do you want me to
Only one
screen share it?
20.
Maybe Janice didn't scan that one.
It is there. Do you want me to screen share it?
Or maybe you should put it up on.
Yeah, the 369, sure. And there's only one invoice for $20 in here.
What was that for?
I could only find those around here.
Inspection.
Right?
Here are the two. There's invoice 39949 and 39967. Here
Okay,
is 39949. Let me make it bigger for you.
the 499.
$20. 39967. $20.
Yeah, I can't see the number. Okay.
You see now?
The 39967.
Oh, right, because they're,
I can see it.
yeah, because of the,
Okay, they're not in the pile here. All right. Okay, so that changes it to.
the problem is that on the screen here, the
Right.
view
It's often not in,
hides the,
so it's not gonna get put in here.
I'll go back on, whenever that was added, I'll print it off. Yeah, good. Cause I printed the whole thing.
Okay, so that's,
There was print, but I didn't.
that's that one.
Didn't print it.
So minus $22.
$22.99.
Ah, you're right.
And
Um,
then minus $365 from the voucher that was canceled.
New York State.
the rebuild one. Yeah.
So the total claims will have to be used by those two amounts.
$44,925.61.
Talking about the highway or general?
Do we have, is the
General.
A lot less than 88. That's more of a difference in,
Okay, the bit, well, the three
And that also
sixty-four, the $18,000.
The retirement change, to the retirement change from 61,000.
that's a
Right.
big difference.
Yeah. So there's that. Oh, boy. Okay, I mean, just as a matter, I'm gonna bring it up every time, we still have the invoice minimum of at least
For Cintas?
$17 this
Mhm.
month. I'd like to not have, I'd like to us to do something so that we don't have that next month.
You're willing to call them and talk? Would you like to call them and talk to them about it?
Well, somebody should, I mean, I don't know who does the contract with them, so I
Well-
think we need to look at the contract.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll
I've
check
been
with
trying
Laura about how
to
to. do
find
that.
the contract.
Okay, but well, that's not, I mean, every month we have it and that we've got to
Yes.
not, twice a month maybe, I don't know. Okay, and we remove.
that invoice minimum?
374.
Yeah.
Okay,
About
we
$9.
remove-
Costs about-
Remove that.
Costs about $9 every now and then.
Oh, boy. Okay. And do we know what 393 was for? Because it was just, previous unpaid balance on the bill,
Yeah, for what?
393. So we just need to find out what that was.
I wondered about that one too.
What vendor was that one?
Tractor supply.
Tractor Supply.
Is that, is that highway?
No,
It's not the general fund.
Tractor Supply. It doesn't say anything at all. It's just a past due bill. So, I mean, I don't know, when we get those past due bill things, maybe the original bill that we didn't pay should be attached to it, right? But this is not, you don't do, I mean, you do the highway, you don't, this is general. So I don't know what to do about that one.
Probably the expense is probably incurred by highway though. It's just that it's a general fund expenditure, presumably.
Okay, well, we need to,
But we don't know what it was because it's a past due without the associated bill.
so I assume we can figure that out.
Did you get something?
The highway, there was, $10 worth of tax paid on, the credit card. $9.99. On 2/29.
Okay.
29.
At least one, that Janice said she subtracted the tax
Yeah,
from the.
I figured, I found that.
Yeah.
I found that. This was, 229. And,
Oh, you're looking for that receipt?
there was,
No, just,
$9.99 from Home Depot, tax was paid.
Yeah, that was, put in the highways.
Yeah, so that, I mean, I assume we'll get a credit for that or something, right? With highway.
of course, they had to do with the tax that was paid.
Okay, but it wasn't putting in the general fund. But Janice had those two receipts and she scanned them in the general fund. But they really.
No, this is with highway, 229.
The highway.
229, the credit card. What was it? It was,
The Home
for
Depot.
for Black Nipple.
I know. In the highway.
And sealant,
Yeah.
and other things, the tax was paid for $9.99. And the total was $134.90, which I think was still on here. Yeah, $134.90. So the tax wasn't taken off.
Okay.
I hope I don't mess this up. There was also, we've got, I hate to be a pain in the butt.
And we'll make sure that it's,
The other,
okay, we'll have to search it.
Okay.
Probably one of our employees went down
yeah,
and they didn't do it. on
Yeah.
the system.
so, I mean, and the other thing, we've got the library,
Mm-hmm.
somebody built new shelves.
Evidently,
I bet they're really pretty.
we're trying to figure out which ones were new, but I think we figured it out.
Where's my thingy?
It was it 1,200?
Here it is. On that bill, that, you know, when I go to the store for the Friends of the Library book sale, I have a tax exempt form in my pocket and a charge card. And before I even put the things on the counter, this is a tax exempt. We paid at least $80 worth of tax for those shelves. So I don't know what to do about that. It was $63, $11. I mean, we need to, people can't shop unless they have a tax exempt form.
Yeah, because again,
And they
and
can
I got,
carry it with them. They don't have, usually you don't have to give it to the people. They'll give it back,
Right.
So,
Use a town credit card, they have to go and buy certain supplies if you're gonna do a project.
but even a town credit card doesn't necessarily mean a tax will be taken off. I mean, when I go, I have to take a card and a tax exempt form. That's over 80, it's like $90 worth of tax. I don't know. We need to shore things up a little.
well, we need to inform the library folks, so they should know better than that.
Yeah, and it's not just the library, it's other, and you don't want, if somebody, the youth crew goes out and buys, it's $3 worth of something, and, it's $8 in tax, or 8 cents in tax, you don't wanna, but they should be given a tax exempt form if they're gonna go shopping. So those are my beefs.
Mhm.
Time's up.
Janice, when they presented that bill for payment, did they mention any of this?
I don't know that Janice can hear you without
Um,
muting the mic.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. When they presented that bill for payment, did they mention anything about all that tax?
about the taxes, no, I did see that there was a discount on it, but,
Veteran discount,
yeah, but I didn't,
The veterans discount.
if he gets the veterans discount. 'Cause he's
How
a
much
veteran.
was the veterans discount? Can you see? You can't tell, huh?
Are we entitled?
No, we can't
No, we're not.
pay that tax, right, regardless.
He can do that, but,
If it were our purchase, would he be entitled to a veterans discount?
I think so. I think they can,
That's a good question too. I don't know.
I don't know, but.
But
They asked
For
everybody.
that, so I guess we have to figure out how we're gonna handle that, whether you wanna just,
When you contract with somebody to do something for you, their costs are what their costs are. They're not doing it. I mean, they're doing it as a contract really, rather than as I'm doing this with, I'm not in the employ of the town using the town's tax exempt thing.
I just know Home Depot always asks if you're a veteran and
Mhm.
they,
Yeah.
so Janice, for this bill, if we were to take that off of this bill, we'd have to send a letter and the tax exempt out to every one of those vendors that charge tax and get them to give us a refund of that tax amount once they applied that in their own business. For wherever, I don't know where it was all purchased. I didn't see that, so I don't know, but
it was all.
what
Home
can we
Depot.
do?
It was Home Depot and Cayuga Lumber. I do see that the military discount is 10%. And that seems to be more than the sales tax.
Yeah, right.
Do that anyway. You can't exchange one for the other. That doesn't.
Probably not.
Be a questionable thing from an auditor if they looked at that. for
Some
sure,
have the veterans discount on it, and some do not.
and some do not. That would definitely be a questionable
The auditor
Questionable
probably may
thing.
wonder about that.
either way.
Right.
So if we, if we deduct that from that
Mhm.
approval of that abstract, but
Sales tax, we paid for $63.
see, all of
That
that's
was not-
been paid.
That didn't have a veterans discount on it.
And is that going, who's that bill going to?
And Depot?
The man.
George Parks.
George Parks,
Yeah.
okay.
Did he bill,
Yes,
he billed
He
the,
built them, yeah.
the library?
So the only thing we
So
could do,
he was acting in a contractual relationship to
Right.
do that.
Right.
It wasn't like the library volunteers going out and buying stuff and putting it together or whatever. He agreed to do it.
for a price,
Yeah.
so,
have bills for it. If it was the contract thing, we would have bills for his contracted amount of money, period. The rest of it would be on him.
Did he donate his services and he was just buying? We
Material.
bought
We
the
either have to
supply,
do it one or the other.
we bought the supply.
No, the library can hire somebody to put it together,
Yeah,
They
and they
could.
did, they hired him to put it
they
together.
hired him to put it
So it's the
together.
cost for labor and cost of material, and that's certainly reasonable.
oh,
Did
we
they,
didn't get a bill for the labor.
did they even charge for this?
He did charge for labor.
Yeah, it sounds.
So I
like
guess the
Bill-
question,
Yeah,
I guess the question is, do we pay him for that entire bill?
right.
And then we help him by giving him, or we make, well, we can't do that because he used his own credit card for all of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's not like we're gonna be getting, he's gonna be able to start getting that credited back to him. He would have to go back to all those vendors with a tax exempt form. And he would have to do that himself.
Yeah.
To go back and get those credits
Yeah.
back for all of those items. So I guess the question is, what would the board like to do in this situation? Do we want him to seek out all of that?
It's a pretty good question, because I don't think so. I mean, it seems to me that if you hire something done, and they do it for time and materials, then you're gonna get a time and materials bill, and that's what we got.
Yeah, labor is on there. Oh,
And he's not entitled to a tax exempt
That is correct.
True, so that's true. So we could really think that he made the purchase of all of that stuff.
Yeah,
And then that's part of his billing to us.
right.
Yes,
That's-
correct.
So, an argument could be made for that too.
Yeah.
But
That's the argument of-
him,
Yeah.
pay him for that amount that he did. But like you say, it's a lot of tax. It did go on his bill. I see what you mean, Joel. Couple ways you could look at this.
Yeah, but I mean, if basically, if the deal, so to speak, the contract with the library was, I'll do it for time and materials, then,
Then he's the one purchasing the stuff and he has to pay tax.
Correct.
right.
That is correct.
Is it possible to have them submit one bill that includes?
That's
He
what
did. That's what he did. I believe he
is.
did. I haven't seen it, but
It is.
one, a check that will go to him for the project. And he's sort of proving his expenditures by turning in all his receipts.
Yeah, the mic doesn't work unless you're
Yeah.
close to it.
I would suggest that we, because of the way it's done, that he submitted time and materials, and he was the one buying it, not the town.
At the town.
Right.
We
He bought it
reimbursed him
himself.
for his expenditures, and quite honestly, when you look at it, if the town was doing it, we would not have gotten rid of the discount, so that terms of cost is probably the same.
Too.
Might have been cheaper, actually.
It's one of those things we can look at for the future. If anybody does anything,
It's
to discuss it with them, hey, look at you, I know you're gonna be going and buying materials and things. We've got tax exempt status if it's something that you're gonna do. But once again, it's a contractor, so
Well,
he's
yeah,
doing his
well,
own
yeah, I
time
mean,
and
I think-
materials.
Well, I'm
That's
gonna assume the person, was like, this is how much I'll charge you to put it together and I'll go buy the
Uh-huh.
stuff. But even then, he's doing it and the supplies are for a tax exempt.
Tax exempt
agency.
agency that
He should
he
be
could
able
use.
to take the form with him and say it's tax exempt.
Mhm.
When,
Jeff Rockwell does that, and
Okay,
he
so
does
just-
work for us.
Yeah,
He'll take a tax exempt form and he'll go buy his materials.
that's what I was gonna ask, when he did the painting work for us, did he?
yeah.
He always used, and he's got an account set up with, and when he puts on that he does for Danby, they have that on file for him.
Mhm.
So we should just remember anybody doing any jobs from here on out
Yeah.
to make sure that that's clear. But in this case, probably that 10%, we probably did get a better deal than the tax. Not that that would,
The
you know,
10% wasn't on every single bill.
every single one.
Like
Okay.
the tax, no, that was.
Yeah.
It's like $63, that was not on a bill with the veterans.
Okay.
Reduction.
Mhm.
So, it's,
Well, so this should be communicated to the library for future purposes.
yeah.
Yes,
Or for
correct.
anybody who does any jobs, we should all be,
Department should know that, everybody should know that.
we should make a memo, we should do something,
Yeah,
an
yeah,
outreach
send it
to
out.
anybody having projects.
Great.
This is one of those examples that we should do that.
We've
Sounds
been to this before with Michael. You know, doing projects for us.
Yeah,
But before you guys approve the abstract, we do have a couple budget transfers
okay.
in the general.
So you want to do
So
this
when,
part of the,
when you get to it, well, we probably should do them before you
before
approve
we
the
approve
abstract.
the warrants.
Yeah.
Okay, then we should do the budget transfers right now. Do you have?
Unless you have more questions on this.
Well, do we want to?
Did you make it through your list yet?
Huh?
What-
I
what
just
did
have
you
no
say?
idea how much the totals are.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
because
have
we made all
totals.
the
When that's
adjustments, I didn't know what the total is. Yeah.
I have totals. Would-
You've been keeping track?
Yes. And in fact, I did notice, thank you, Laura, I did put the highways, those two receipts in the general fund. Credit
know, I
card,
sent it
I
over
saw
to
that they're-
David.
So I just
Yeah.
took those off as well. So the general fund's credit card has gone down. So now
What was taken out of the general fund?
there were two receipts for highway that were on the
What's the
A51.
number? What was the number?
It's the voucher 372, sorry, that's not the right voucher. The voucher 382. And it was the last two, the two before the planner lunch training. There was a Home Depot, the one where you're saying there was tax on the Home Depot bill. That should have been on highway, and it was on highway. So it was also put on the general fund. I have now deleted it from the general fund's credit card.
What account number did you put it to on the general fund when you charged it?
I had put it under A5132,
Okay, okay. Makes sense.
So are
but now it's off.
these gonna be?
Which sheet?
Yeah, oh yeah, they'll have to be all fixed. And then they're gonna go into the Williamson system to produce checks, so they're gonna have to balance exactly to what needs to go out for each one of these bills.
So do you want the total for the general fund?
Yes, please.
It's 44,711.79. So 44,711.79.
Okay. What's the highway?
The highway, oh, I don't have the highway. I will say though that includes George's, is including tax. Do you want me to take those off too?
Yeah, we decided not, didn't we?
Not.
No,
Okay.
to go ahead and pay them.
Okay, okay.
What if there's a $9 in the highway? Let's take from the highway department, take that $9.99 off the total of the highway. Because I will not cut a check for that, and I'll write them a letter when the submission goes in to make sure that they credit us back that $9.99.
What was that for?
Which one?
It was for something, for some sealant or something, and it was,
Okay. So then, that would be 66,265.11 minus 9.99 is 66,255.12. For highway.
Okay.
I thought we were taking some off of general and putting it into highway.
No.
no, it was put, it was in highway already.
Okay.
There's two places.
Janice put it on the general,
And the water didn't.
and I
change,
had
right?
already put it on the
No, the
highway,
water didn't
because it really needed to be on the highway, yes.
Okay. So now backing up a little bit, transfers warranted.
Okay, there's a couple of line items. And just in going through this, in our legal ads again,
Mhm.
okay, $40. If you approve this abstract, you'd be $40.03 over. And also in the attorney contractual, if you approve this abstract, you'll be over budget by $2,943. And I would suggest that we take it from, make a budget transfer. Sorry, I don't have it written up for you guys. A budget transfer from A 5132-400, which is the garage contractual, and move that in to cover the A 1410.48 for $40.
14 what?
A 1410.40 legal ads for $40.03. And A 1420.400 for $2,943. And
One more
take it
time,
from
Laura. 2009.
$2,943.
Okay.
No sense.
No sense. And that,
Makes
both
sense.
of them would come out of the garage contractual, which is A 5132.400.
What was the line for $40.03?
That was A 1410.480, which is our legal ads.
Oh,
Those were the only two that I found.
$40.03.
$40.03. Yeah.
We're just a little short.
Okay, I'll figure it out later.
I move we make those two budget transfers.
Fine, I'll second that. Hold on to that. Second.
Okay. There's no need to discuss that, is there?
No,
Right. So chance to vote?
Connors,
aye.
Hunter,
Yes,
Weisberg,
Aye.
Woodworth,
Yes,
Yeah.
Gagnon.
Okay.
Thank
so-
you.
So that's the transfers.
I move the general fund, highway fund, water fund warrants, about it, whatever.
I'll second that. I think we discussed them enough, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, usually we say, you know, vouchers 84 through 90 for 3,000, you know, just to make sure that it gets in the minutes for what we're actually approving.
Okay, well then general is 364 to 394, that still hasn't changed, right?
Right,
Wait, what?
General fund, the voucher number,
right.
the 44,711.79.
79.
And the highway for vouchers,
214 to 226 to 229.
226.
214, 226,
226 to
229.
229.
It's 66, 255, 12.
Right. Good thing you mentioned that.
And the water was 84 to 91.
Did we change that to 90? Was tub service 90 or 91?
I have it 91 on my,
Yeah, it
It's-
was 91, but there is no 90 in here.
It should be 90. It was a
Should be
it
90.
was a mistake. It should be 90.
All right,
so water fund vouchers 84 to 90. For a total of 37939.53.
I'll second that.
That included half of that tree removal, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's voucher 90.
Okay. Ready to vote?
Are we ready?
Okay.
That's me. Okay. Connors,
Aye.
Hunter,
Aye.
wait, sorry, Weisberg,
Aye.
Woodworth,
Yes.
Gagnon.
Yeah. Could you hear Steve?
yeah.
I can hear Steve.
Well, they're putting a half away from his mic, that's why I was wondering.
Well, she went on to the next person, so
Yeah.
I think she heard
He
him.
projected his voice well enough that the mic
Yeah.
picked it
Okay. Okay. Catherine, SCT.
Well, that's very, very brief. I did call them today, and we are, to remind you, we're on, sorry, if you that when I'm speaking. We are on, non-contract price, which is $100 an hour.
Mhm.
And they can come approximately January 12th, although we are to call, or I call again in the beginning of January just to say that's okay if it still works a date for them to come.
What day of the week is it?
What?
What day of the week is that?
I looked before and I can't tell you, and I don't know where my phone is. It's
It's not a
somewhere
Sunday
around here.
anyway.
Anybody know what January 12th is?
Let's see.
I don't have a calendar. Well, I
I
probably.
think it's a Monday.
This is a Tuesday.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think Tuesday sounds right.
The 6th is Tuesday, so it's the, what'd you say? No, I guess that would be.
It's a Thursday, I think.
It's a Thursday? Starts with a T, Thursday. Thursdays and Tuesdays are the same.
Yeah, okay.
And at least that we can get a look at where we are and get the latest information from them so
Okay,
that
good.
that's all, it's just part of our plan,
Cool,
nothing more.
alrighty.
So is that, January 12th?
It's not firm until I call them back at the beginning of the year, because they will, that's everybody's schedule for the
Yeah.
next year. We had the same problem with, two other things I did today that they couldn't, they,
No, I'm just like wanting clarity on what it is that happens on January 12th. Is that when they're gonna come and talk to the
No, that's
IT
when
group,
they'll
or they're
come
gonna come and evaluate?
evaluate what's going with the computers. And I'm perfectly willing to be here.
I would.
Okay, we can do that.
Maybe
And I said,
keep stock
mentioned
of where
it.
we are.
And they,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
and that was Alicia that I talked to today.
Yeah. Right? Is that it?
Okey doke.
That's it? We're good now, right? For now?
Yeah.
The code enforcement local law. We have a couple of options. You recall we had the public hearing at the previous meeting, which was on the 6th, right? And there were questions raised. Pat had some of the same questions I had.
Actually, I just had Steve's question.
Well, there was Steve sort of brought to light some of the questions really, but so we have at least we have a couple of options. One would be to pass it the way it is, which is the and then we could pass it the way it is. We could change it, and if we change it, we'd have to have another public hearing, which we could do this time.
What is Steve's recommendation?
His major concern was the exemptions that were taken out.
Right.
He had four.
No, I know, but,
He had four concerns.
right,
3 of them, I think, are covered in other laws and handled differently. The one
Right.
does not. The one exemption
The
that
pool.
says exemption for swings and playground equipment
That's right.
associated with single-family single dwelling
Yeah.
is not covered anywhere else.
right.
That I think we should put back in. And Steve did say in his second letter that he did talk with another town and they did exactly that. They put the exemption back. It goes to the state and the state will have to evaluate it.
Yeah, I had this discussion with Mark Whitmer, who's over in Caroline. And he suggested a third path, which I hadn't thought of, which is that, he said, well, you don't have to, you can charge what you want for a permit fee, because we are in charge of setting the fees. We've
Right.
already carved out an exception for the solar
Right.
installations. We could do the same thing for the playground and swing. And just have it be, you need a permit, but it's not gonna cost you anything.
I don't think it's just about having a permit. I think it's about whether or not you need a permit for one of those. That's the question. The cost is a second question.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and when you get right down to it, we could question whether there's a need for any of those other ones either, for that matter.
Right.
But
Well, Steve is suggesting that we add it back in. I would say we should do
Well,
that.
Steve's here, I believe. We could
I know.
ask him what do you really
Steve,
think,
Wake
Steve?
up, Steve. You there?
Hey,
Hello,
Hey.
yeah, I'm good with adding it back in and letting the state tell us we can't.
Okay. And that's the swing set one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Do you remember where that was?
Well, it's not in the form.
No, it was in the old one.
It's in, it would be in the
it's
old.
not,
one.
it's not in this
It's in the
one.
exemptions. Where,
Right,
what
right.
page was that on? Let's see.
Well, that's
Section 4.
section 4.
Four. Okay,
Anyway, it's not there, but we would be putting back in.
So we could
It
put
was- it was
in-
in the old law, it's not in this one.
right.
Yeah.
Swing sets and playground equipment.
Is not listed, but we would list it. So if that's what you'd like to do, we can, why don't we take a motion to that effect, that we want to modify the law by adding that back in? And then we'll have a second public hearing and we can schedule that for the next meeting.
I move that we put that exemption back in. The exemption for swings and playground equipment associated with single family and multiple single family dwelling.
You want the whole shot? Because there was some thought, there's also some thought of making it just a single family.
Is that a large enough change that we need to have a second public hearing?
You can quibble. Question, is it substantive?
I don't think so, but
No, it wasn't there before.
it was, I mean, it was in the
I mean,
old,
the exemption was there before,
Right.
we're just making it like
Right.
it was.
we're just putting it back in.
Yes, but we're changing the law that was before, so I
Uh-huh.
mean, I don't know, that's a guy question, is it a substantive change? The conservative thing to do is to just have another public hearing. And then you're covered, but
Just say it. It'd be very short.
yeah. right.
Okay. I don't think it's substantive, but that's all right. All right, so we need to have a,
I don't know
Oh,
that,
do we need
I
to
mean,
vote on
if
this
we were to argue that it isn't substantive, make the change and pass it, I don't think there'd be too many people challenging that.
right, so we don't need to vote on it now, but we need to set a public hearing.
But if we're gonna make that change, we should propose it and.
Yeah, if we're gonna make the change, we need to propose the change, and then the second question is a public hearing on that change. I
If
think
Sarah were,
that's
if
two
Sarah were here, she would say you should do one thing at a time.
I was just gonna say, it should be two separate votes.
Two separate votes, yeah. So the motion is to add back in that previous exemption for playground equipment. And did you want to make it as broad as it was before, which included the more than just a single family?
What?
Multiple single family dwelling.
Yeah,
What does that
just put it back in the way it was.
It's not for apartments, but you might have a swing set for several people.
Oh.
It's like, for example, what,
Community playground.
White Hawk, for example.
Okay, right.
to clarify, if I may, multiple single-family dwelling is referring to a townhouse. So, one structure with
Especially with more than one.
multiple dwelling units divided by firewalls, like row houses, things like that.
Yeah,
Okay, now I understand better. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. Then it makes sense to keep it,
so you want the whole thing.
that whole
Yeah.
thing, in, with that explanation of what that means.
We don't have any of those though, but it's,
No, we have
Not
duplexes.
yet.
And we don't know if we will get some.
we might in the next 10 years,
If
who
you
knows?
get the core.
Yeah. Did you want them exempted?
Huh?
Hey, which are you saying, the exemption, not a,
Leaving it just the way it was. I
Yeah.
feel that exemption for swings and playground equipment associated with single family and multiple single family dwelling.
Right.
That's what I said the first time. I didn't change anything. I made that motion, that we approve that.
So that covers both single family and multiple single family.
Right.
does not include apartment buildings.
I'll second that.
Evidently.
So Steve, that
A
does
duplex.
not include an apartment building then, right?
Oh,
Good, they're all separate by firewalls.
Or what do you call those, I guess? I mean, they probably
Well,
should have fire
And
doors.
multiple single-family dwellings.
Let's say an old farmhouse is converted into 4 apartments. That is a multi-family dwelling.
Yeah,
If someone were to build a large structure, that had 60 apartments, that would be, that building, that would all fall under the commercial code because of its size, and
Oh.
people are making substantial amount of money from it. So that's where the separation is. 3 units or less would fall under the residential code. 4 units or more falls under the commercial code. So.
Okay,
but this only applies to the residential code, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess we're okay.
Okay,
yep.
All right, so the motion was made, somebody seconded it?
You got it, Steve? Somebody
Okay.
did.
To add back the previous exemption as previously written.
okay.
Okay. You ready to vote? Yeah.
Connors,
Aye.
Hunter,
Aye.
Weisberg,
Aye.
Woodworth,
Yes.
Gagnon.
Yes.
Then to make it very clear, I would move that we have a public hearing for the revision at the beginning of the next meeting. First meeting in January.
Mhm. I think that's January 6th.
Is it January 6th?
You confirm that, Janice?
Yeah, hang on. The first meeting will be,
Third?
It's earlier than 6, yeah.
it's
The
actually
third?
the third. The first Tuesday of the month is the 3rd.
Let me make sure I get that right in my article.
Okay. At 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. 6 p.m. January 3rd. Was that second, that one?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Nope, okay, yeah,
Connors,
Aye.
Hunter,
Yes.
aye.
Woodworth,
Yes.
Gagnon.
Yes. Right. We did our year-end budget adjustment, the transfers we did up above. Installation for the town hall monument fence. Catherine has proposed a resolution to deal with the situation that we discovered when they went to clean the monument. It's hard to get at.
Yeah, it's been an object of interest for a longer time than that, but it was brought to our attention more specifically.
So the resolution is proposal to authorize up to $500 be spent to put a gate in that fence so that one can get inside the enclosure, both for ceremonial purposes and also for cleaning purposes.
Correct. For a safe entrance. It is not safe.
Unless you got really long legs.
Yeah. Yeah, you all seen it, and
Yeah.
Not to exceed $500. Are you moving this?
You want to move it, Catherine?
I'll move that resolution, yes. I was supposed to say it.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll second that.
Right. So it's been moved and seconded to authorize, and did we do it right? It's just saying building capital reserves, we didn't, there's no account numbers for reserves account, is there?
You're suggesting that you're gonna take this money out of the building reserve to do this? The $500?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, just put it in your resolution that you,
That's what's in there.
yeah.
Building capital reserve.
$500 out of the capital reserve
Yeah, up to.
for the building fund,
Building fund.
up to $500,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. You know, I'm not really sure you need to do that, though, I mean, you can, but we do have money, left over, like, as I was saying, in garage contractual. We have some in some other line items that we've done very well with this year in the general fund. If you want to just say, you know, garage contractual too is in fact taking care of, you know, we could just say, let's move that out of there into the 1620.4, which is for the building, and pay it out of there if you don't really want to hit your reserve.
We didn't know where to take the money from.
No, okay.
That's a
And
good
this is the
idea.
first of it. I think you should just say, put it to 1620.4, which is the building account number here. And we'll take a look and see where that's at, and we'll move some from, if we need to move some more out of there to cover that. We'll be doing another one too, because as we do accruals and we have things come up, we'll do some other budget transfers into January further to cover some of those things coming through.
Okay,
And we'll see if it affects that.
So 1620 is
24.
1620.400 is the building contractual line for the town hall. But for 500, we've got it in another line item
Okay.
that we don't have to hit our reserve.
That's in the.
Yeah.
okay.
Reserve fund.
Suggestion.
Yep. We just had to put something in there. We just changed
Yeah.
it. So that's
Okay.
where so now just change the very end of it to say that the money's
Right.
going to come from the
1620.4 contractual line.
So you move it with these changes,
Yep.
this change,
Yep.
and I'll second. the
Oh.
change.
Okay.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Okay, Janice.
Connors,
Aye.
Hunter,
I,
Weisberg,
Aye.
Woodworth. That was a yes? Can you repeat?
yes, it was yes.
Yes,
Thank you. And Gagnon.
Yes. Right, so we said we would move up the status of the OSC audit. This last week, the Office of the State Controller released to us the second part of the audit, which they've been conducting since the spring of 2021. That covers procurement and disbursement, which is our bailiwick. I was given a draft of that earlier, which was the basis for my crafting a response to it. With Laura's help, we put together something we hoped would serve it both as the response and as the action plan for dealing with it. I forget what the acronym is.
Doesn't matter. Corrective action plan?
Corrective action plan, right. And we submitted it in what I hoped would be that form. I had an opportunity to run it by Megan Ellis, who's one of the two over the last almost 2 years, to see whether it would pass muster as both the corrective action plan and a response, because that's one of the options you can, if you get it done within that 30 days, you can serve both. And she opined that it was a little bit short of the requirements for responding point by point, even though it covered most of the points. It responded generally. So I took off calling it a corrective action plan, but if you saw the response, it does basically present a plan of action for each point. So then this morning, I got an email from somebody who's like the head examiner in the Office of State Controller, saying, we understand that what you submitted was intended to be both a response and a corrective action plan, and we acknowledge receipt of it. So I don't know whether it's that, Megan didn't talk to her, but it would be kind of nice if it does in fact serve. But that's where we are in the scheme of things. I will contact both of them and see whether or not they've talked to each other and whether it will actually serve in both capacities. If it does, then we're done. If it doesn't, then we'll have to do what Megan suggested, which is to go through point by point with their recommendations and say, what are we doing about number one, number two, number three, so forth. So that's where we are.
We're done with the response. We're not done with the.
Right, right.
figuring
The
out how to
response is,
fix things.
response is there. The corrective action plan may or may not pass muster as such.
Right.
Yeah. And all of this, I have reported in my monthly column. That'll be in the January issue of the Danby Town News. So the point of bringing it up here is just to sort of brief everybody else to say, this is where we are. It's why we are where we are. We couldn't say anything about this until it was actually released. It was actually, we were told specifically, this is to be held in confidence until we release it. And it was released last week.
Right.
So it has been posted to the website. And we will be talking about it in the Danby Town News. Okay, so that's that. The next item is the executive session. Pat and I have met with the crew members, the local committee, as well as with Stephanie Engster, who's the union representative. And we had a productive meeting, and I'd like to report on where we are in the scheme of things to get a sense for what the board's, some feedback from the board on where we are, where we might go with the negotiations next. So I move that we go into executive session to talk about that.
Second.
All right, vote aye.
Yes, Dennis, if you would. Oh, and I'd like to include Laura in the executive session.
Would like to what?
Include Laura.
Oh,
We can include whom we
oh,
wish.
okay.
Okay, wait, who seconded? I'm sorry.
So the
Pat.
motion-
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Connors,
Aye.
Hunter,
Yes.
Weisberg,
Yes.
Woodward.
Yep.
Daniel.
Yes. Okay,
We could get Charlie out. and trying to-
well, we'd have to, yeah,
trying to send out.
but we could go next door, no big deal.
I have to go, I've got dogs having, so I've got to clean up too.
Yeah.
So that's,
We'll be expeditious.
okay.
We will.
Let's go to the,
Yeah.
let's go to my office, which,
All right.
Grab a step and what?
It's been 2 hours. It's been 2 hours.
Catherine? I muted that computer. Can you unmute it? Or should I come in and do it? You want me to come in and do it? I'll do it.
I think I did it. Matt? All right. I hear very well in that first when you said it like. Okay. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty.
Adjourn?
Yeah. Well, we have to move to go out of executive session.
We're back, yes.
Move to go out of executive session?
Yep, second.
Ooh, do you need to do that?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
aye.
All right, so Janice back in her station.
Yes, I am.
So the motion is made to come, I don't know why we need to do this, but to come out of executive session, we just did, but,
Okay.
So,
Made and seconded, we're ready to vote.
Oh,
yes, it was.
you haven't ever voted before on coming out of session.
I know.
That's what the motion is. We didn't vote before, then why are we doing it now?
Well, I didn't,
Never mind, let's just do it.
I'm told it was supposed to, even though I'm not convinced, but,
I moved to come out of executive session, I already said that.
yeah.
All right.
So we're doing that, we're doing a vote to do that.
Okay.
We already moved and seconded.
Moved and seconded, ready for the vote?
All
Aye.
I will take all of your eyes. Who seconded?
Leslie did.
Oh, okay. So Woodworth moved it. Connors. Okay, Connors, Hunter, Weisberg, Woodworth, Gagnon.
Yes,
Yes, yes, yes.
okay.
I moved to adjourn.
We don't need a motion.
Oh, never mind.
Meeting adjourned.
Okay, great.